Good morning. Thought I'd try this again. Still trying to get used to talking to myself on a camera. And I apologize in advance. I may repeat a lot of things. I'm getting to that age where you say things that you didn't realize you've already said. So hadn't had anybody comment yet on what they want to see or hear. And I'm just trying to put out things that more than likely are obvious to most people, but I realize that sometimes we need to state the obvious out loud in order to really drive it home. I know that happened when I first started listening to Dave Ramsey to try to get out of debt in my late 20s. My wife and I had just got married and we ran up a lot of student loan debt, and there was a lot of silly things that we ended up buying. Luckily it wasn't as bad then as it is now, with how easy it was to get loans and the cost of college. I was just blown away when a friend told me about that, but let me get off of that subject. But thought I'd kind of talk about where I'm at with my health right now. I started about a month ago and I was 205, a little over 205. I'm down to 190 this morning. What I did is I figured out what my maintenance calories are. I'm six foot tall, and I'm trying to get down to, right now I'm thinking, first it was 190, then I realized I still got a lot of fat on me, so I've dropped that down to at least 180. I might even need to get to 175 to get the amount of definition I'm looking for. Along with that, you're surprised how much your muscles shrink, because they don't have all the extra glycogen making them full. So even though it's hard to see me, but it's real early this morning. I start walking usually around 4 a.m. My wife gets up at 3:45. So I'll even walk and have my coffee while I'm out here walking around the neighborhood. But I've dropped, what, I don't know, 15, almost 20 pounds, something like that. But it's really easy at first, because the first 10 pounds is like water and extra waste in your gut, because when you're eating a lot, and I was eating a lot of, I make homemade pizzas, and I was making a big pizza for myself and my wife. And that's one of the things, once you start to realize, like, I'll just go back here, I was getting short of breath at 205, just walking and talking kind of like I am now, but it was worse. And I can run and not breathe this hard. And I realized I need to drop some weight, see if that helps, because in the past I've had my blood pressure shoot up when I was younger, and I did all sorts of things. I remember it was like 160 over 130 sometimes, and I was getting worried because that can kill your kidneys. I worked in hemodialysis the majority of my nursing career, so I decided that's the switch that flipped. Sometimes you need something happen in your life that says, hey, it motivates you, gives you your why. Why are you going to do this? Your why has got to be strong enough. You got to have that little switch inside your brain flick, so you stick with something, because motivation and willpower will only get you so far. You got to have a why, and I can talk more about that and some of the choices I've made in my life of why I did certain things and why I didn't do certain things. And it came down to I didn't have a big enough why. Why was I going to do it? But so far it's been good enough. That's dropped, what, 20 pounds? Or 15 pounds. But what I did is I figured out my maintenance calories you can get any app that'll track your calories. It doesn't have to cost. It can be free, and you end up seeing what your maintenance calories are. Mine's about 1,800 to 2,000 calories. I try to hit 2,000 plus or minus 200, so anywhere from 1,800 to 2,200 calories just for the basic bodily functions. And then I walk. I was going to do a minimum of 10 or 12,000 steps, but it just didn't seem like that much, and I always overdo everything anyway, so I've been doing 30,000 plus steps most days here recently. I try to at least hit 15,000 as a base. And for about 6,000 steps with my stride length is, I can get in an hour, about 1,000 steps every 10 minutes. And ends up being a few hundred calories every hour. Whereas if you were to go out and run, you might burn a few extra calories, barely, but it's not as sustainable. And I have done that in the past. I've gained weight and cut, you know, a few times in my lifetime, and I know it works. And this was even before the science came out that proved it. It's just that with the science, it helps you to understand mentally. So when things get tough, you can actually stick with it. You got to follow the process, and that's keeping your calories at a maintenance level, walking every day, you're burning those calories day after day after day, and eventually you're gonna lose the weight. And the most important thing is, while I'm doing this, I'm lifting weights, full body routines 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, in order to retain the muscle. People starting to go out. Let me get over here. All right. Well, I don't want to keep these too long, so if people want me to go more in depth on losing weight and eating healthy, I'll post some videos on that.